officers of the Council, ladies and gentlemen, please be upstanding for His Worship, the Mayor of Nuneaton and Bedworth, Councillor Martin Walsh.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Please take your seats. Good evening, everybody, and welcome to this extraordinary meeting of the full council on Wednesday the 17th of January 24. As we have no members of the public, I'm sure we're all aware of the evacuation procedures. Thank you. Item 2, apologies. We have apologies from Councillor Evans, Councillor Mandy Troman, Councillor Rob Troman, Councillor Scott Harbison. Do we have any other apologies? Yes, Councillor. Thank you, Councillor. Thank you. Thank you. Item 3, declarations of interest. Do we have any other declarations of interest that are not on the schedule for this evening? Councillor Shies.
Of a community interest company that's going to be supporting children with additional needs and education. It's not been put on the declaration yet, though I have declared it.
Councillor Golby.
As well, and I have submitted them, but they haven't gone on the paperwork.
Been noted. Thank you. Any other councillor? In which case, thank you. We move forward to item number 4, announcements. I have no announcements personally. I know the leader doesn't have it. Does any other member have an announcement to make? In which case, no, thank you. Public participation, again, we don't have any members of the public. So public participation. Move forward to item number 6, the update on the Gypsy and Traveller site allocation, DPD. I ask Councillor Smith to present this, please. Thank you.
The purpose of this development plan document, or DPD, is to allocate sites to meet the borough's identified need for Gypsy and Traveller pitches and show persons plots up to 2037. The DPD has been through various stages of development over the last couple of years, and the publication version was published and consulted on back in January 22. The consultation responses received were considered, and the resulting DPD, with all its supporting documents, was submitted for examination to the Secretary of State at the end of June 22. That resulted in a hearing held with the planning inspector in October 22, and as part of that examination process, amendments to the publication were required by the inspector, which has resulted in all of those amendments being included in this final document. In addition, the inspector was keen to ensure that any transit needs could be met, and so it's considered appropriate by him that this could be carried out by negotiated stopping in the borough. The initial assessment identified a shortfall in need of 20 pitches. That was down from 39 on the previous assessment. That was right across the borough. To satisfy this need, the policy document allows for an increase in pitches at several sites across the borough. These sites are located at Winter Oak on Watling Street, Sunrise Cottage in Moultrie Lane, and the old nursery at Parrots Grove. Both of those are near the Coventry border, south of Bulkington. Contrary to some recent social media speculation, there is no new site planned in Stockingford. However, the long-established existing show-person stopping site on Spinney Lane off Whittleford Road will be safeguarded for travelling show people to use. That is a privately owned site. The Secretary of State and Planning Inspectorate have now confirmed the final document is considered sound and adequately provides a 5-year supply of sites, meaning as a borough we have no unmet need for Gypsy and Traveller sites. That means we're protected from inappropriate developments that so often negatively impact on our communities. This DPD is a crucial piece of work that makes us the envy of many of our local authority neighbours, none of whom, to my knowledge, have managed to satisfy their duty to provide sufficient pitches for Gypsy and Traveller accommodation needs. And this is a testament to just how good our fantastic planning policy team are, and in particular the outstanding work of one of our principal policy officers, Jackie Padbury, who's led this piece of work over the last couple of years, and I know the amount of effort she's put in to deliver this. The full inspector's report is attached to Appendix A and the final development plan document at Appendix B. The recommendation is the consultation responses be noted and the Gypsy and Traveller site allocations DPD be approved and adopted. This is with the caveat that any minor errors such as page numbering etc. can be amended by delegated powers of the Assistant Director. So I'm delighted to propose this recommendations as printed. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Councillor,
To speak.
the council wishing to speak on this item. Councillor Condacor.
Coat, but it's a bit cold in here. I am going to approve or vote in favour of the SPD because we need this document. It's really important we have one. It helps all the legal process going on for various sites in future. But I did want to make a couple points. One is that a lot of these permanent sites don't cause problems to the neighbours. There's one here on the A5, which is in my ward, which causes me no casework, a lot of these sites aren't really an issue. A lot of the issues we get are people from travelling in the temporary sites, the stopping places, particularly the unauthorised ones, rather than some of these settled sites. So I did want to make a point about that. Secondly, at 5.18, it is mentioning negotiated stopping places, and I think this is something that often does work quite well. We do have some people go through the borough, actually negotiate a need to stop, agree with the council that they clear up after themselves. And I think rather than tie everyone with the same brush, we do need to recognise that this process works well a lot of the time. And the final point is, I do mention the site at Stockingford just from the long term. Yeah, by 2037, I hope finally there'll be a railway station reopened at Stockingford. So I do know that this plan goes to 2037, and we just should be mindful, particularly if it gets reviewed in 5 years' time or whatever, of looking to see what implications there may be from that. Because in modification 14, MM14, it talks about the site, and it's deleted a bit about if an alternative site is available in Warwickshire. And that was a useful bit that was in there, that's now not in there. So I mean, Jackie Padbury works really hard on this stuff, and I hope we just keep reminding people that there is a potential one day to have a railway station there, and that might mean some moving or adjustment to that site there. Thank you, Chair.
Is there any other councillor wish to speak on that matter? Councillor Brown.
Welcome this document coming forward. That it's fantastic to see that we are meeting the need, that we've done it by a proper assessment of the need, and we've developed the plan, and to say that it's great because we can now lay to bed the speculation that keeps on cropping up that there's going to be a site in Ash Green, which clearly there isn't, and residents there can be absolutely assured that we are not going ahead with that. Thank you.
Member wish to speak? Councillor Wilson. Councillor Wilson, thank you.
Pleased to be seconding this proposal before council tonight. And I think it's important to quell some of the myths which are going about on social media, perhaps being aided and assisted by some people who have an interest in creating a bit of a storm in a teacup. But let us be absolutely clear, there are no new sites being proposed tonight. All we are seeing is some small extensions to existing sites which already have permission, so that means we will not be seeing any more legitimate encroachment on the green belt. And I cannot tell you how much that pleases me as a planning councillor, because having been on planning for close to 12 years, on and off in my 14-year career on this council, it really gets my goat that when we have planning applications come forward for these applications within the green belt, we are on a hook because we haven't got the provision that we need to have legally. And so I feel as a planning councillor I have one hand tied behind my back, and it really grates against my sense of justice, because actually if it was any other member of the public who was to rock up and want to build a bungalow in the green belt, they would be told in no uncertain terms by the planning department a big fat no, because of the harm it would cause to the greenbelt and the characteristic impact it would have on the greenbelt. And I know that Bulkington in particular, so my colleagues, Councillors Kovetkovic and Smith, have been at the very keen edge of this problem. We have managed to see, Mr Mayor, a reduction, as Councillor Smith said, from 39 pitches to 20 pitches. And I've been on this authority long enough to remember, Mr Mayor, that we were told many years ago that actually our number of pitches would have to be higher because we actually already have an existing high population of Gypsy and travellers in Nuneaton and Bedworth compared to the rest of the county when we look at it on a sub-regional basis. So just because we already had a problem, the problem was going to be compounded because we already had the problem. Hardly fair, Mr Mayor. But we have seen that reduction, and I know from having spoken to some other leaders of Warwickshire districts, not too probably last month, I think it was, that they are still having issues with their own provision, and they are looking at ways that they can meet their requirement and their need. But we are already there. So this actually gives us the legal tools to deal with these unauthorised encroachments on the greenbelt. And that is critical, Mr Mayor, because without having this document which we sign off tonight, we go into these battles on behalf of our residents, again, with one hand tied behind our back, because the presumption then becomes with the inspector in favour, more often than not, in my experience, of passing these. But we do want to enforce, and I know that we have one application where we want to enforce already, and this policy tonight strengthens our resolve, and it strengthens our armaments in dealing with these particular problems. Because residents quite rightly look to their councillors as local leaders to try and deal with these problems, and then they find that the law and the policies don't necessarily back them up. And I know, having spoken to them over the years, they have felt that most keenly in these areas. But I want to address another thing, Mr Mayor, because I've seen this on social media, about the Whittleford allocation in here. Now, I would draw members' attention to page 60 of our agendas. It's actually page 19 of the actual report. Paragraph 4.2.3, it quite clearly and expressly states the site is currently at Spinney Lane, Whittleford Road. So this is an existing site for travelling show people. And I have seen some mischief making on social media, Mr Mayor, where people are saying, well, why weren't we consulted about having Gypsy and travellers in our area down Whittleford Road? That isn't the case. That has been there for years already. And if you haven't noticed a problem before, I don't think there's going to be a problem in the future just because we passed this DPD tonight, Mr Mayor. And actually, the travelling show people are the ones that we don't very often get any problems from, because they are here temporarily, they're operating their business as a travelling show, they welcome the residents wherever they are running their circuses or events, etc., and they come and they pass cleanly. And to be honest, Mr Mayor, I don't think I've come across a single issue with travelling show people. Every single issue I've seen in 14 years has been to do with the unauthorised encampments cropping up on the Greenbelt. So I commend this policy to the Chamber, and I hope we adopt it unanimously, because we need it, Mr Mayor.
Smith, do you wish to respond or follow?
No, I totally agree, and no, happy to go to the vote on it.
The vote on this policy. All those agreed? Those against? And those abstentions, please. In which case, that is carried. I thank you. As we have no other matters on the agenda for this evening, I would like to thank you all for your attending, and safe journey home. Thank you very much, everybody.